Local presentation of Read About It is made possible in part by a grant from Cox Communications of Oklahoma City, proud sponsor of this effort to promote reading, education, and literacy in our community.
Cooking for busy people will be the topic on Read About It tonight. Hi, I'm BJ Williams. With me are Sharron and Jean McFall talking about Busy Woman's Cookbook. Susie Beasley will talk with Pauline Rodriguez. Kids Corner features Heidi Johnson. We also have Doug Benton, Clyde Martin, and Gary Rodriguez. Coming up, Sharron and Jean McFall.
The following public service program is brought to you by the Metropolitan Library System. And now, Read About It, with your host, BJ Williams.
Sharron McFall is a native of Iowa. She has traveled extensively working with her husband and has also been involved in a number of things like running restaurants, developing gift shops and that sort of thing, as well as raising 4 children. So as she said, most of her life she's been involved with food. Jean McFall, for the last number of years, has been playing Will Rogers for people really all over Oklahoma and I think outside the state as well. And I am going to have to start this all by asking, what made you decide to do a cookbook after all of this?
Well, truthfully, I think for a long time I wanted to do something like this. And because of his show, and he sells so many products, I decided I want to write a cookbook and sell it after his show. So that's basically how this got started.
So actually, your first cookbook was Cooking with Will Rogers.
Right.
And that actually has some recipes that Will Rogers used, doesn't it?
Yes, it does. And the foreword is written by Will's son, his last, while he was still alive, Jimmy, the youngest son, wrote the foreword to it.
Mm-hmm. So there's not only cooking, but I'm assuming that the information about Will Rogers, Jean, you did the research on?
I did the research on that, yes. And this is kind of how Sharron and I divided up. A lot of the research I do, she does most of the recipes, but we do intermingle. I'll throw a recipe in and I'll find a recipe, say, Sharron, here's a recipe that looks good. She'll come across something that, hey, this looks good for the research for this book. So we work very well as a team.
Mm-hmm. Now, the Busy Woman's Cookbook, I'll bet that the idea for that title was from you, wasn't
it, Sharron?
Yes,
it sure was. And the idea about the stories, because I wanted to be more than just a cookbook. Mm-hmm. And, you know, I raised 4 children, and I cooked a lot. I mean a lot of old-time recipes with a lot of ingredients. I don't have time for that, and most women don't anymore. So I thought, I want to create a cookbook with good recipes, but with only 3 and 4 ingredients. And I kept thinking, what do I want to call this? And I thought, Busy Woman's Cookbook. And that's how the name, I decided that's it. Every woman's busy, whether you're a stay-at-home mom or you work, women are busy. Mm-hmm. And that's one of the reasons that I created this.
Now, was it your idea to include the stories about women as well?
I wanted to be more than just a cookbook. Women nowadays, you know, they buy cookbooks to read like a novel. And I wanted it to be something women could really enjoy besides just cooking. Mm-hmm. And it is, it's great.
So you just turned to Jean and said, Jean, research.
That's
right.
Basically it.
I said, here's what I want,
she said,
go
here's
do
what
it.
I want, go do it.
And that's it.
So she, truthfully on the cookbooks, many of the creative ideas are hers, but we do collaborate on some of that. But she said, here's what I want on this, and believe me, I spent many, many hours at the library because it wasn't something you just say, okay, push a button and come up on the internet with famous women, because that wasn't what I wanted. And I'd go, you know, and I've one book I've got piled up here, okay, this leads me to another book, and I'll have 15 books around me trying to decide and find, oh boy, this sounds interesting. Because you want something interesting and that fit Sharron's idea of showing what women have accomplished throughout the ages, and we go back, you know, thousands of years with some women in it and up to current women. And famous first women are category dividers.
Okay. And so while he was at the library researching, I'm assuming you were in the kitchen saying, yes, this one's going to work.
This is going to work, or you got to be kidding. You know, this is not good. So yeah, I was really, even with the stories, he would bring them home. And of course, he's very good about letting me go ahead and take control a little bit of that and of the deciding what goes in the books. And I'd say, this is great. This is the one I want in here. We chose very carefully these women. And there's so many more I'd love to put in there, you know, that's accomplished a lot. But yeah, I usually was in the kitchen a lot. And what's funny is we travel a lot, so we go to a restaurant and somebody overhears something about a cookbook. I've got a recipe for you.
Oh.
I've had recipes on faxed, on napkins, paper sacks, and you know, and then coming up with the names. You know, I wanted the names to be fun.
This
and
is
amusing.
something Sharron has spent. We drive down the road, and her mind is working while we're
Constantly.
driving, you know. And this is a good idea for a title for a name for a recipe, you know. And she'll see a phrase. Oh, I'll incorporate that in a recipe. The name of it. You know?
I love that name. I'm going to use that. That'll be great on that dip I've got, you know.
Right.
And because I want them to be unique.
Well, and what I like is 3 to 4 ingredients. They're simple to put together, and you know you've got something good. As I remarked earlier, the thing I appreciated most in the book was right at the beginning you said you can use low-fat milk and so
Right.
on for any of these recipes, because that's not always what you can do.
That
in
is so
substitution.
true. Well, you know, nowadays women really, and men too, want the low fat in a lot of their dishes. So when I put these recipes together, I made sure that would work, and it does work. So.
Well, Jean, did you like every one of the recipes that's included in this book? Were you the taste tester?
Well, I haven't tasted every one of them, though. There are some things I just say, no, that you can test on somebody else, not me.
Well,
but-
be truthful, a lot of those are mine, okay, that I had used. And some were my grandmother's, you know, so I did have a lot of family involved in it too. I mean, different recipes.
Now, did you find yourself modifying the recipes to make them 3 and 4
Not really.
ingredients? Or
Not
these were
really.
just tried and
These
true?
were tried and proven. And it took me a long time to create over 500 3 and 4 ingredients.
You know, you see some recipes. We saw one recipe that had 40-some ingredients. And I thought, who's going to have 40-some ingredients to make this recipe? And 90% of them you wouldn't use ever again, or once every 5 years, you know.
Well, women don't cook that way anymore.
No,
they don't
certainly
have
don't.
time. And one thing, what I love about this, I've had several women that have contacted me and said, you know, my husband's thrilled I'm back cooking again, you know, because it doesn't take any time when you get home, boom, you've got a nice meal, or you got company coming, boom, you've got a meal. And it really works well, so.
Yeah, a businesswoman friend of ours in Tulsa, her husband said, Jean, she now knows where the kitchen is. She knows how to turn the range on again.
Well, that's good considering how much most of us spend on our kitchens. It's nice that we can
You use it once in a while. And you know, another thing that a lot of people tell me is it saved money, because a lot of recipes, it does have a lot of ingredients. A lot of times those ingredients really don't have to be in there. You might use the ingredient 2 or 3 times. And so this is everything that's recipe. About 99% of the time you're going to have it in your cupboard. And that was another reason I wanted to make sure that I had it where you didn't have all those ingredients, and you could do it, mix it and fix it in minutes. That's the name of the book.
Yeah, well, that's so important. When you're coming home from work, you don't want to have to stop at the grocery store and try to remember, now what
was that ingredient?
What was that ingredient?
Right.
You know? It's nice to know it's there. It's already there in the house. You can fix it, throw it together, and sit down and enjoy a nice meal.
And
Well-
it's obvious that a lot of people agree with us that this is what people are looking for, a cookbook, because the book has sold 300,000 copies already.
Oh my word! So you're going for 1 million, huh?
Yeah.
That's what we're shooting for.
Trying.
Well, and if people can't find the book in their bookstore, they can access it at your website,
Right.
which is www.busywomenscookbook.
Right.
They can find out about you and your cookbooks, because there's more than one of them.
Right.
And I want to thank both of you very much for being with us to talk about Busy Woman's Cookbook. We've had with us today Sharron and Jean McFall. They've been telling us about Busy Woman's Cookbook. You can find it at your library and your favorite bookstore. Coming up next, we have Susie Beasley. She'll be talking with Pauline Rodriguez about a book I'm sure you'll enjoy.
Pauline, this is Katie.com by Catherine Tarback. What happened to Katie to
Well-
cause her to write this book?
Katie was 13 years old when she started to visit chat rooms on the internet, and she met Mark, who claimed to be a 23-year-old man, and she felt that he really understood her, like nobody else. She could talk to him. And Mark encouraged her quite a bit to meet with him in person. So she actually agreed to do this while she was on a school swim trip to Dallas. And when she got to his room, she found out that he was not what he had claimed to be, and he sexually assaulted her.
Oh, then that's not good.
Although her mother did arrive in time to prevent an actual rape, it was still a very traumatic experience, and that is the first half of the book.
Okay, so what more is there of this story?
The rest of the book deals with Katie's life after the fact, what happened to her after this event occurred. For example, since it happened during a school trip,
Right.
of course the other kids knew about it, and when they got back to school, the rumor mill got started, and we know how
That can-
rumors can go in a high school.
And how did this affect Katie with her interaction with her other peers and classmates and things?
She felt very ostracized. A lot of her friends wanted nothing to do with her. Of course, people were saying it was her fault. Her parents, in dealing with their own guilt about what had happened and their fear, basically gave her to understand that they felt that it was her fault.
Right.
And she was feeling that she had lost this friend that she knew through the internet that she'd been so close to was gone.
So now, so this book is really kind of like a lesson or for teens and their parents about the dangers of the internet, and she is from a teen's perspective because this actually occurred to her.
Yes, it is. It's a good idea, explanation for both teens and parents how this kind of thing can occur, but also, if, God forbid, it ever does occur, how parents can help their teenagers to deal with this event that maybe avoid some of the mistakes that Katie's parents did make.
So Katie, after she pulled all this together and decided to write the book to alert other teens, do you feel that as a teen she made a great accomplishment?
I feel that she has made great strides. She was fortunate in being able to find a therapist who was able to help her to realize that the incident was not her fault. She also talked to one of the detectives who was investigating the individual who had attacked her, and he was able to tell her that this person had a history
Of doing this. Well, Pauline, we really appreciate you coming and sharing with us. Katie.com by Catherine Tarbach. This is a young adult book, nonfiction, at your local library and perhaps your local bookstore. We'll see you next time. Thank you, Pauline.
If you spend 15 minutes a day reading to a child, you're doing more than reading. You're building a bond that lasts a lifetime. Hi, I'm Penny McCaleb, Chairman of your Metropolitan Library Commission, and I urge you to read to your children. Not only will they learn to love reading, they will also become better students. Our children's librarians will be happy to help you select just the right book. The next time your child hands you a book, take the time to read. You'll both be glad you did.
I have a question for you. What is the difference between nation, state, and country? Or indeed, is there a difference? What about inheritance tax and estate tax? Are they the same thing? And here's a question for our particular times. Income statement and profit and loss statement, are they the same thing? Well, if you can't answer any of these questions immediately, you probably need the book that I am talking about right now, and it is called When is a Pig a Hog? A Guide to Confoundingly Related English Words by Bernice Randall. Now, English is full of terms that have closely related meanings, and all of us are sometimes uncertain about the right word for a given situation. Even without running the risk of serious error, one word seems to be more appropriate than another, but which one is it? Randall rides to our rescue with When is a Pig a Hog? With this easily accessible examination of thousands of words. It's organized into 8 main sections that cover people, places, things, ideas, activities, nature, science, and more. In the section called Here and There, you will learn how a nation, state, and country are both alike and different. Instead of adhering to alphabetical order, the entries follow a natural progression to invite browsing. If you want to locate a specific term quickly, you need only consult the comprehensive index for the appropriate page. It also has appendices of the gods and goddesses of Greek and Roman mythology and a geographical time scale. This is a wonderful book for anybody who wants to be precise with their English. It's the kind of book that I enjoy just dipping into and reading a little bit about. And Bernice Randall has written the Webster's New World Guide to Current American Usage, and she lives in California. I would heartily recommend this book to anybody interested in words. My next book I can mention really only briefly, A Master Guide to the Art of Floral Design. It's by Alice DeJong Stout with Hannah Sigur and photography by Douglas Sandberg. It's got everything you ever needed to know about floral design. It will push you into new and modern ways of floral design with absolutely exquisite photographs. Coming up next, we have Kids Corner. I had a chance to talk with Heidi Johnson about some books for our very youngest readers. I think you'll enjoy hearing about them. Heidi, it looks like you brought a couple of neat books for us tonight.
Hey, BJ. Yeah, I thought they were pretty interesting books for kids. The first one is called Play Gently, Alfie Bear by Catherine Walters. It's a cute book for anybody who has new siblings and really doesn't know quite what to do with them yet, can't play rough and tumble with them yet. You cannot play rough games of any sort. So Mother Bear here is showing her child how to deal with his baby siblings. And he is really meaning well. He goes out, he tries to find a fish for him to eat till Mom tells him, well, they cannot eat something like that yet. So he tries, something sweet smelling, but he brings something back that the babies are allergic to. So all of his best intentions just, they don't turn out the way he meant them, till at the very end where he's very dejected and he's out in the rain and just doesn't want to have to face the tragedy anymore, so to speak. He sees the rainbow, and the small little bears just love the rainbow, but what they even love more is their big brother that found it for them. So it has a happy ending, the story does.
Oh, good.
And it shows that there is good things about small siblings after all.
So this is the book Mom and Dad need to check out right before the new baby's born, huh?
It would not hurt to do that. Maybe make it a little bit less traumatic.
Right. Yes, I can remember those days. They could be pretty awful.
Yes. The second one I brought is a biography for small children about Frida Kahlo, the Mexican painter. It shows how she got to paint. Apparently she had a very tough life. She had polio when she was a small child, could not properly walk. After that, she was in a traffic accident, and her painting really was how she expressed her feelings. She would not cry, but she showed her characters crying. And to this day, people still love to go to the museums to see her paintings, which have a lot of Mexican folk life incorporated into them, and the colors are certainly gorgeous.
Mm-hmm. So this still is a book that would be read to a child?
Would be read to a small child or look at with the parents. There are a lot of fun pictures in there, very beautiful pictures. So a child could certainly enjoy the pictures on their own, and then with the parents' help, maybe read about the life of Frida.
Okay. Thank you, Heidi. And remember, you can find these books at your library and your favorite bookstore. It's time to do the New York Times bestseller list. We'll start out with hardback fiction. Number 10 on that list is The Dive from Clawson's Pier by Ann Packer, The Shelters of Stone by Jean Auel, Hard 8 by Janet Ivanovich, The Emperor of Ocean Park by Stephen Carter, An Accidental Woman by Barbara Delinsky, The Nanny Diaries by Emma McLaughlin and Nicola Krauss, Sunset in Saint-Tropez by Danielle Steele, The Beach House by James Patterson and Peter DeJong. Number 2 is The Lovely Bones by Alice Sebold, and number 1 is Tim LaHaye's and Jerry Jenkins' The Remnant. On the nonfiction list, number 10 is 10 Things I Learned from Bill Porter by Shelley Bradley, The Sexual Life of Catherine M. by Catherine Millay, A Mind at a Time by Mel Levine, The Right Words at the Right Time, edited by Marlo Thomas, Why I Am a Catholic by Gary Wills, John Adams by David McCullough, Stupid White Men by Michael Moore, You Cannot Be Serious by John McEnroe with James Kaplan. Number 2 is The Lobster Chronicles by Linda Greenlaw, and number 1 is Slanders by Ann Coulter. On the children's list, number 10 is The Miserable Mill by Lemony Snicket, The Wide Window by Lemony Snicket, Lemony Snicket, The Unauthorized Biography, Junie B., First Grader at Last by Barbara Park, Coraline by Neil Gaiman, The Reptile Room by Lemony Snicket, Artemis Fowl, The Arctic Incident by Ian Colfer, Junie B., First Grader, Boss of Lunch by Barbara Park, The Bad Beginning by Lemony Snicket is number 2, and number 1 is Harry Potter and the Goblet of Fire by J.K. Rowling. Coming up next, we have Doug Benton of the Metropolitan Library System and the Oklahoma Gazette. He'll be talking with Clyde Martin, that renowned radio opera host and actor. They have a book they're just dying to share.
Thanks. Hello again, everybody. I'm here with Clyde Martin. Clyde, thanks for dropping by.
Thank you.
Now, Clyde and I, we recently talked about punk music, and you want to talk about a composer who doesn't really have a whole lot to do with that.
No,
right?
not very much. Richard Rodgers, this is his year. This is his, he was 100 years old, or would have been, on June 28th.
Oh, okay.
And he died in the late 80s. But there have been a lot of celebrations this year. There was a big concert at Lincoln Center on his birthday with all the musical theater people performing. And there's the big revival of Oklahoma going on now. And but of course, we know mainly Richard Rodgers' music now from his work with Oscar Hammerstein.
Right, Sound of Music.
Sound of Music, South Pacific, King and I, Carousel, and of course Oklahoma. But of course he only wrote 9 shows with Hammerstein.
Oh, I didn't realize that.
And he wrote over 40 with Lorenz Hart.
Now, we don't know those
don't.
shows very much.
We
What
know
happened?
the songs
Yeah.
because they are standards, but we don't really know anything about the shows, and probably the shows weren't very good, you know, but the songs were.
Yeah.
And there are a couple of CDs I have here of just Rodgers and Hart songs.
Oh, yeah?
One by Frederica von Stade and the other by Marie McGovern. Now, here are a few of those songs. My Funny Valentine from Babes in Arms. I Didn't Know What Time It Was from Too Many Girls. Here's one. Bewitched, Bothered, and Bewildered, of course, from Pal Joey. And Where or When, also from Babes in Arms, and Falling in Love with Love from the Boys from Syracuse. Well, there are a number of others. Those are just a few of the songs that Rodgers and Hart wrote. And then, of course, Lorenz Hart was an alcoholic, and he died in 1941, or 42, I'm not sure. Anyway, then, of course, Richard Rodgers teamed up with Oscar Hammerstein. Oklahoma was their first show, and of course, you know, the rest is history, as they say. And now you were asking why the Hammerstein period is more popular than the Hart period. Well, I think it's because the songs with Lorenz Hart that Richard Rodgers wrote were more sophisticated. They were really darker in many ways, because not only was Lorenz Hart an alcoholic, but Richard Rodgers was he suffered from depression.
Oh, so I didn't realize that.
But on the other hand, when he teamed up with Oscar Hammerstein, Hammerstein was the optimist. And that's why those songs have a more sunny viewpoint. And one critic said, well, Richard Rodgers' catalog of songs is a cornucopia. And somebody else said, yes, the copia is with Hart and the corn is with Hammerstein.
Well, thanks, Clyde. You brought the book. It's called Musical Stages, Rodgers' autobiography, and some CDs. Interesting man. And thank you, and we'll see you again soon.
Thanks, Doug and Clyde. After a brief break, we'll be back with Gary Rodriguez, computer systems analyst, and his favorite book of the day.
We are more than 300 strong. We are diverse from all walks of life. We are musicians. We are teachers. We are computer experts and business leaders, each with the same goal, to meet the information needs of the people of Oklahoma County. We are the librarians of the Metropolitan Library System. How can we help you?
Hi, everybody. I'm here one more time with Gary Rodriguez. Gary, welcome to the show.
Thank you, Doug.
Gary's brought a book by Tom Clancy, so I'm assuming that this is a thriller, an exciting novel, huh?
Well, it's not a novel.
Oh,
it's
yeah?
actually, this is one more of his real books, if you will. It's a nonfiction, and it's called Tom Clancy, Shadow Warriors Inside the Special Forces, with General Carl Steiner, who's retired, and Tony Colts. They're all kind of cooperated and wrote this book. It's your typical Tom Clancy book in that it's full of lots of neat stories that all the threads are being pulled together.
Yeah.
But it's nonfiction. It's
Nonfiction.
absolutely
It's
true.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah. Well, who was the co-author, the General Steiner? What?
Steiner is one of the people that has been one of the key leaders of the Special Forces, the Joint Operations Control. I want to say Delta Force, but he wasn't actually head of Delta Force. He was like 82nd Airborne Division, the JOCS. Basically, the Special Forces people that are going to go to take on whatever they need to take on. He's been head of it. So he's looking at it he's in the middle of it.
Yeah. Well, what exactly are Special Forces?
Well, their job is to go in and take care of the job that conventional forces, meaning, you wouldn't send in the tanks, the artillery, and the infantry to do. These guys go in, it may be just like a insurrection or something like that, counterterrorism at the local level, if you will. It's an advancement, like they go to Ranger training and they run them through scenarios. Well, these guys go out and do the scenarios. Special Forces would take in the SEALs. It would take in the Rangers, the long-range reconnaissance patrols. It kind of rolls them all into one. But what we think of as Special Forces now is more of okay, we've got like the Iran hostage situation way back. Hard to believe that was 20 years ago, 22 years ago. That's what they needed, but they didn't have it then. That's what this book is about, is where are we at now? Okay. And it's a good history book. It tells where all this stuff come from out of the World War II era, and how things basically got adjusted to where we are now.
Yeah. Well, was General Steiner just sort of an advisor on this, or some of the stories based on his own experience?
Oh yeah, some of the stories are definitely based on what he discovered, and people he knew, could point their stories out. So he added a lot to the book, I think. Of course, Tom Clancy kind of has it in with all the Special Forces people anyway. Yeah. They like his books too.
Yeah, I guess so. Well, is this a book for the general reader, for the specialist in military history? What would you say?
It at times, if you allow it to, it gets a little tedious on some of the stories. You think, well, okay, where are we going with this? If you stay with it, it's a good book for anybody to read. And I think it would interest like teenagers or someone thinking about getting into the military or someone just a history of military.
Okay. Gary, thank you for bringing it to our attention. It's Tom Clancy, writing with General Carl Steiner. The book is Shadow Warriors. Inside Special Forces?
Yes.
Okay. Thanks again for bringing it to us, and we'll see you all again soon.
Remember to check out the Metropolitan Library System on the web at www.metrolibrary.org. You can find out all about the libraries, where they are, how long they're open. You can access the catalog, put reserves on books and all of our materials, CDs, DVDs, video and audio tapes as well. You can find out about what programs are available. We have programs for children and adults. Find out how you can get on the internet at the library. You can also access some of our databases from your computer at home as well. So check us out on the web. Thank you very much for being with us. We'll see you again next time.
Local presentation of Read About It is made possible in part by a grant from Cox Communications of Oklahoma City, proud sponsor of this effort to promote reading, education, and literacy in our community.